I'm so pleased today to be bringing you Focus on Lightworkers with Sharon Carne. Sharon was introduced to me by Marbeth Dunn, a very dear friend, and as soon as I saw Sharon's work, it just felt like she was coming home. So, Sharon, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, I'm just so delighted to have met you. I'm so grateful to Marbeth, who is such a brilliant light worker.
She is. She is. And
Yeah.
all of those bowls behind you. I can't wait to get to see what all of these bowls do. So, Sharon is going to be joining us starting next Sunday night at 11 o'clock Eastern for her Sound Wellness Chakra Toning Circle. Now, it's not a new show, it's new to Enlightened World Network, but it's not new. Tell us about the Sound Wellness Chakra Toning Circle.
I guess chakra toning started with Periscope about 5 to 6 years ago, Ruth, and Facebook Live wasn't even on the agenda yet, as far as it wasn't even available yet. So I wanted to learn how to be better on video. And I thought one of the things I love to do, and one of the things I've done for many years, is to guide chakra toning. So I thought, okay, let's do, maybe it was more than 6 years ago. Let's do one chakra a day, starting with the root chakra on Monday, ending with the crown chakra on Sunday, and just keep doing it with a different intention each day. And I started that, did that for about 3 years daily. And it gradually moved to about once a week at the end of those 3 years as my audience was shifting. And then Facebook Live started, and I thought, ooh, here's the opportunity to bring it to in a different way to Facebook Live. And the Sound Wellness Facebook page was the perfect place. It was the perfect home for it at the time. And so I started the circle on the Sound Wellness page, and it's an opportunity. It's a live guided meditation in a way. It's an active meditation because you're asked to use your voice and you're asked to use a singing tone with your voice. Because when you use your voice, you're moving every molecule of your being with your intention, which is the important part. And so the circle has been growing its audience to a global audience, and different people come every week. Some of the same people come every week because it's part of their self care routine. And it's just been such a delight. Even there was a couple of weeks last January where I had laryngitis and couldn't tone, so I just hold the big old bowl and just tell everybody, I'll play the bowl. I can't hear you, but I know you're toning, and you tone. It's been the most amazing community of light-hearted and big-hearted people with voices filled with love and intention. And one of the coolest things with a group meditation, even if you can't hear everyone, we can feel everyone. And more than one person amplifies the intention. So as we go through each week, our intention works on ourselves because that's we're working on our own well-being, all of us, and all of that is amplified by the whole group. So it's something that's part of my self-care regimen, and it's just so cool to be able to do that in a group with other people.
Yeah,
it
that's
keeps me it keeps me on a, I guess, a more um gives me a regular practice because I promised I'd show up every week.
right. Right. So how did you learn how to play those beautiful bowls?
Oh gosh, that goes back. My sister Beverly gave me my first bowl, and it was a beautiful little silver colored bowl. And she said, Sharon, you have to have this. So many people do this to me. And I thought, Okay, I have been a musician all my life, and so often people will give me gifts that are interesting musical instruments. And this was just my sister and I share this deep spiritual connection. And so she will give me something that will open a new door in a way, often, not knowing, not consciously, but it opens a new door for me. And so I love that little bowl and enjoyed playing it. I loved the sound. And I think at the time too, I was also starting to understand and recognize that what I've been doing all my life as a musician had a deeper effect than just playing music. And so I was starting to get inquiring into how does this work? How does sound work? How does thought and intention travel on sound, and how does that work? So I was starting to look into this and doing my own personal research. So that little bowl opened a door to actually bring a sound tool into my personal possession, which then led to many other opportunities to invite other sound tools to come home.
It feels like your sister reminded you.
I think she did, because it's that kind of soul connection. Yeah, I think she did.
Beautiful. So I know that you're intuitive. You sense, see, hear, feel spirit. Has it always been that way for you?
Yes. Uh, and I haven't always worked with it consciously, Ruth. When I was in my 30s, my mom told me that I had almost died when I was 10 months old. I had whooping cough and I stopped breathing. And so she was in panic. She didn't know what to do. I was turning blue and then black. I don't know how long. She didn't tell me how long it was from not breathing to breathing again. And she said she just grabbed me by my feet and shook. And I guess that finally dislodged whatever it was that was the phlegm or whatever was stuck in my windpipe, and I started breathing again. And and it's interesting, my mom's sister, a few years after that, actually, we were in a bookstore, and she just grabbed a book off the shelf and she gave it to me. She had a similar experience when she was a baby, and she said, Sharon, you have to read this. She didn't even look at the title, and the title was Near Death Experiences in Children. And what I learned from that, it was the perfect thing for me because it helped me understand why I always felt different when I was growing up. How I was, and the researcher who wrote the book had explained in her experience. She'd been studying near death experiences in people for over 25 years, at least when she wrote the book. And she said it's a different experience in children than it is in adults. Many adults describe the experience as going to the light, whereas with me, when I did a meditation to reconnect with that experience, I went to the void and came back with that. To me, I remembered the void as warm. It was dark. It was totally loving. It was like a warm blanket around you. It was so beautiful. And came back from that and really started moving forward on my own spiritual journey, in a more conscientious and conscious way. I've always been an empath, and it was a shock to me to find out, a physical empath, that I was soaking up other people's stuff. Because having children and being a mother and having a career and lots of things going on, the spiritual stuff kind of took the back burner for a while. And every once in a while, I'd get the 2x4. I said, Sharon, time to learn this. And gradually went into high speed about 25 years ago. Went into fast speed evolution and my own growth.
So it sounds like you had support as a spiritual being in this physical body.
Always. I wasn't always conscious of it until later on. And then when I became more aware of it and learned, especially Ruth, learned how to listen. Because when you spend so much of your life, we spend so much of our lives up in our heads. And especially with the ego mind, the different minds that are always in conversation, we don't always listen. So it took me a little, at least for me, it was a learning to learn how to listen to those voices and recognize them. And even as long as I can remember, I have never felt alone. Sometimes I turn around as if to say, somebody just heard that. Somebody's watching. I never could figure out what it was. So fascinating.
I've had that experience myself. You know, Sharon, I was just thinking, so many light workers have that struggle of needing to understand their own worthiness, understand their own value, and fighting the people around them who think that they're crazy. That wasn't your issue.
No, not at all. And even there were times when my husband, or I'd always share my journey with my husband and my kids, and they would listen. And sometimes they go, "Yeah, mom." "Okay, mom." or or Ed would give me a funny look. Now he listens differently, but I'd get a funny look from him, and it just, yeah, I always felt that it was what I had to do, and so I did it.
So I'm going to assume that because that's not your hurdle, you've got other hurdles that you are working on through this lifetime.
Absolutely.
It is so interesting. This morning's meditation was all about our soul's curriculum and how
Mm.
we each come into this world with our own spiritual curriculum laid out in front of us. And whether we want to go down that journey or not is completely up to us. We always have free will. When you think of your soul curriculum, any thoughts come to mind that you're willing to share?
Mm. I'm listening within, Ruth, for rather than going into the head, but maybe I need to go into the head to answer that. And the journey, for me, I think has been trust, because for many years and sometimes I still do. For many years it was, what do you mean I should do that? And then I would have a choice to not do it, or do it and notice what happens. And finally, over a number of years, got to the point where I hear a voice of spirit that I recognize, and then will follow that. Whereas the rebel in me would say, "No, I don't want to do that." There are many there are many boots I've had, and when I've listened, it's been profound. Mm.
Do
I
you
don't know if that answers the question. Trust, I think, is a big one for me.
No, it does. It absolutely does. Do your guides work with you through your toning?
Good question, because when I work with people, with anyone with sound, I go to what I describe as my empty place. And sometimes we have an intention, which we do in our toning circle. There's a different intention every week. And sometimes it's connected to what's going on in the world, to support people with what's going on in the world. Sometimes it's a more general intention, like healing. And still, I'm so used to going to what I call that empty place and allow my body to move, allow my voice to move. Sometimes my voice will change as another energy comes through my voice, And one of the things that I consciously do with the toning circle is I ask that my voice will reflect what's going on in the whole group. So if we're toning the root chakra, for example, and my voice is cracking and it's wobbly and not strong, then we'll do extra tonings for that. And so because I've set the intention that my voice reflects generally what's going on in the group, then that gives me information because I can't hear everybody. I can feel them, but I can't hear the voices. So I allow that to be reflected in my own voice.
So
Yeah.
that empty place is really that of a blank slate, no ego, everything's just set aside, and it's really just you in spirit form then.
Yes, and for the highest good, just allowing what needs to be created in that moment for sound. Yeah. Every once in a while, there's a direction. You need to play this bowl now, a verbal direction, and sometimes I'll have a generic plan. If I'm doing a singing bowl bath, for example, I often like to start with the chakra set of bowls behind me because the physicality of the sound of Tibetan singing bowls really helps people to center and become present in their bodies. So it helps just to clear the chakras before we move on to the crystal bowls, which bring soul's intention in, to me, at least the way I love to work with them, and then come back to the physicality of the Tibetan bowls in order to bring everybody back again. Is kind of often the plan I have, and then I just go to my empty place, and sometimes it follows that, sometimes not. I just move, and my arm goes out to this one, or my arm goes out to that one, or this one has to sound. It's fascinating.
It really is. It is. And I know when I went to your YouTube, I was able, and Facebook, I was able to see several shows and videos there. So if folks want to see that and get an idea of what it is that you bring to the world, that is a great way for them to do that. Can you tell us about the Sound Wellness Institute?
Mm. The Sound Wellness Institute is a more recent creation of Sound Wellness. I created Sound Wellness itself about 12 years ago after participating as a facilitator in a study on stress, and then had no idea how to create a business, had no idea. It was quite a learning curve. And things shifted for us in 2016, 2017, and towards how our intentions with the business shifted to create the Sound Wellness Institute to serve holistic practitioners with the highest level of training we could create. Because one of the things that I found in many of my friends and in my own practice at times is confidence in what's called woo woo. I'm hearing woo woo less these days. However, the confidence is difficult and challenging sometimes for a holistic practitioner. So we're bringing credibility to the woo with the higher level training, and then also what has been developing in the last 3 years is more programs for the workplace, which have come out of a lot of my speaking engagements in the corporate world. We keep getting, do you do this in corporate? We need this? Can you create programs for corporate? So that's been a big focus the last year, especially putting all our programs that we had just been creating for live programs onto video. So yeah, it's fascinating to it feels focused and it feels in alignment, very much in alignment for my soul purpose.
Yes, I can see that you are living your soul's purpose.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
That commitment is there. That's, yeah, that's awesome. I loved how you said you're bringing credibility to the woo. And it reminds me of Enlightened World Network because once I got up the courage to start telling people about the things that I was experiencing through meditation, or, you know, seeing, being able to understand my intuition a little bit more. Once I finally got up the courage to say it out loud, I found myself starting the sentence with, I know this sounds crazy, but. And as I created and was able to receive this group of people that come to Enlightened World Network, we don't have to start sentences that way anymore. And what a treat that is, to be with like minded people, that we don't have to validate each other anymore. And we don't have to provide that credibility for each other. This is a safe place. And I know that you provide that safe place for your community as well through your sound wellness. So thank you for providing that safe space. And thank you for bringing your folks to our platform, and we're bringing our folks to yours. And I can't wait to have your show start with us on Sunday night. So it starts on the 14th at 11
Yes.
o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And it's the Sound Wellness Chakra Toning Circle. But if folks want to watch tonight on your page, they can do that. And how do they find you on Facebook to be able to do that?
You can do a search on Facebook for Sound Wellness for a Positive Life is the official name of the page, and it should come up, or search for me, Sharon Carne, and I should be there too. And hopefully that will work. If not, send a message and I can send a link to the page if you have trouble finding it.
Okay. And where would they send a message to?
Through Messenger, our email. Also, if you go to soundwellness.com, everything is there. We don't use forms. We have our phone number there. We have our street address there. We also have our email there. So it's really easy to get a hold of us. And that you can use in a pinch.
Excellent. Sharon, what else do you want our viewers to know about you?
Mm, I guess one of the things that I would love people to know about me is following your heart. Following your heart is so, so important. And it took me a while to get there, and I'm seeing more people do that younger than I did, which is good. And follow your heart. And as far as sound, also, um, one of the passions I have about sound is sharing with people how powerfully simple it is for helping to stabilize your nervous system.
And you're going to teach us about that when you start your show with us. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that. Last thing, you had shared with me that some folks keep coming back week after week after week to you, and it's just part of their health and wellness. So folks can do that. They can raise their vibration, they can clear energy that no longer serves them, and they can just tone in with you and create a healthier body.
Healthier body, mind, emotion, spirit. Absolutely. Sound works with the whole of the person. And and I love that people are making this part of their weekly routine and part of their self-care routine. It's part of mine, and being able to share that is even more perfect. It's a wonderful way to put a timer on your phone. If this is something that resonates with you, put a timer on your phone, put it in your calendar with a reminder so that you can be there. Most of these people do. And they're there every week with me, even when I have trouble singing myself.
Well, we're looking forward to meeting them.
Oh, me too, again.
Excellent. Sharon, thank you so very much for this time today. We're looking really forward to your show joining our network. And friends, thank you for being with us today. And Sharon, big hug to you. Welcome with big open arms. And our friends, thank you for being here and take good care.